네, we could start now. So Armando, like instructor, please start today's session.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Good morning or afternoon or evening to every one of the peace educators that are in training here today. I sincerely welcome you all who joined this online training of the Global 05 branch for peace educators. My name is Armando, and I'll be leading this lecture time from the beginning up until the end. Actually, today is the final lesson of the Peace Educators. So I thank you for joining the training education so far. I've seen everybody from the beginning, and everybody has been doing such a great job and completing assignments and doing everything that is required for you to take on that role of peace educator, which is a very noble task that you are embarking in. We're going to first check the answers to the last session exam, and then we'll begin today's lecture with lessons 10 and lessons 12 of the Peace Education textbook. So if we go to the confirmation of the test answers, courtesy and law are related to which matter among the issues that need to be settled in order to restore peace in the world? So think about the answer. I'm sure you've taken it. And the answer is number 2, which is disorder. Hopefully you got that question correct. If we go on to the next question, it says that peace is closely related to maintaining order. This is why lesson 9 teaches that respect or courtesy is necessary in order for us to maintain order between a relationship. So choose the incorrect explanation out of these 4. So the answer is, when teaching courtesy to students, it is better to teach based on Eastern Asian culture, which follows external form of courtesy strictly. So this is the incorrect answer. So let's go on to the next one. It says choose an incorrect explanation on law and peace. Make your choice, and we'll see the incorrect explanation on law and peace. So it says here, in order to implement law of peace and follow them, nations should play role of main agent. So this is the incorrect explanation of law and peace. And then the last one, choose the correct statement about the 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW and pre-existing international law. Choose your answer, and then we'll see that the first one is the correct statement. So according to pre-existing international law, it emphasizes on the duty and role of states for realizing peace. On the other hand, DPCW emphasizes on the role of civil society through active participation in realizing peace. Okay, so this was the confirmation of the exam answers. So today I'll be going over the explanation of textbooks lesson number 10 and 12. Some lessons ago, we understood that one of the characteristics that peace citizens should have to overcome is greed. And the way to overcome greed is through love. And love can be expressed through gratefulness and consideration and sacrifice and also forgiveness. In the last class, we learned about lesson 9, which is respect for the elderly. And we also learned lesson number 11, which is a law-abiding spirit of peace. Today, however, we're going to look at lesson number 10, which is titled Efforts of Preservation of Heritage. And we'll also learn lesson 12, which is regarding the completion of peace that humanity has long awaited. First, let's take a look at lesson number 10 regarding the efforts towards the preservation of heritage. So I'll start this off by asking everybody a question. On the next slide, our question is, what inheritance would we have wanted most from our parents? So I'll repeat it. What inheritance would we have wanted most from our parents? Think about your answer just for a moment. Some of us, I know personally, when I think about this, and in my family personally, one of the most common inheritances given in my family personally is land. People inherit land, typically. So in my family, land would be considered a good inheritance. But we have to think about this next part. How would we feel if our parents or our family gave us a nice house or a lot of money? Of course, those things would be good. However, what if I don't know how to live a happy life with that money and end up wasting it away, or I end up living a miserable life? Actually, it is a fact that we see today many people who are rich but are also not happy. So just having a lot of money may not make somebody happy. What about if we were given the ability to love and to live happily with other people as an inheritance? How would we feel in that case if you and I were given the wisdom accumulated through many lives as an inheritance? Even though these things cannot be seen, they still can also be called an inheritance. A heritage is a tangible and intangible tradition that is valuable among ancestral cultures. In other words, it's a cultural production of the previous generation, which is worthy of inheritance and succession to the later generation. And in terms of expanded concept, spiritual values and people can also be a heritage. So heritage refers to something valuable. Even the mental value that we cannot see and we cannot grab, that's also an inheritance. And people themselves, as mentioned, can also be a heritage. And we'll see how this is true very soon. So people, you and I, we are the link between tangible and intangible world heritage. These things contain the spiritual values and cultures handed down from the past. And the way we view people can be different if we see people not only as people, but as a vessel containing human culture, values, and history. And if we can equate the existence of a person with the existence of a world heritage, one's life, a person's own life, wouldn't be taken lightly. When one thinks of one's own life as a legacy for future generations, we would all live our life with far more responsibility. And people with life, we're the most valuable World Heritage sites that communities and mankind must preserve together. So personally, I was very impressed when I heard this peace education about the contents that says a person's own life would be valued if a person's existence could be seen as the existence of a world heritage. So what about all of us here? We too should see our life as a heritage, as a legacy for the future generations. So I want to share with everybody a story about an individual, and this will show us how we can see people also as a world heritage. So there is a story about this person, this father, this priest called Lee Tae-sok. And he was a South Korean priest who served as a Catholic priest, a doctor, and also an educator in South Sudan. He's also the first foreigner to appear in a South Sudanese textbook. And it's written in that textbook that racial and religious disputes have killed about 2 million people in South Sudan. But Father Lee Tae-sok has eased the pain for anyone in need. And according to social studies textbooks of a South Sudanese elementary school, Father Lee Tae-sok left South Sudan, one of the poorest countries in the world, and a land that lost hope. He went to that land in 2001. South Sudan was a country that experienced civil war from 1983 to 2005 due to conflicts between the Arab community in the north and the natives in the south. The civil war claimed more than 2 million lives, and it caused 4 million refugees and divided the nation into north and south. And in addition, many people died because of the epidemic and the lack of food. However, the priest built a school in South Sudan. And this is because he believed that education was the only door to salvation. To help children dream of the future, he built a school, he taught math, he created a brass band, he taught music, and he reached out to anybody who was in need. He also treated about 300 patients every day. And every Wednesday, he would visit a village that was plagued with leprosy. And no one went to this town because of the fear of getting sick, but this priest went to that town to give people treatment. And this is what he said. He said, at first, I made a lot of plans because I was so poor. But as time went by, I realized that being together with them is the most important thing. I wanted to be with them no matter what difficulties they faced. With this type of love and with this kind of heart, he took care of the residents and educated the students. In October 2008, the priest, he was diagnosed with colorectal cancer and said that he began digging a well in Tony, and he has to finish it. There are people who became doctors after the priest passed away. And this is what the students said. They would say that I want to be a doctor like Father Lee Tae-sok, who treats not only external wounds, but also the hearts of the patients who suffer. The life of love that this priest showed throughout his life was delivered to his students. And the seed of love sown by Father Lee Tae-sok bloomed as a flower in South Sudan. So we're actually going to watch a video about Father Lee Tae-sok. And so if the video can be played, and let us watch very closely and very attentively.
의대생이 된 이들입니다.
Become a doctor because of the Father John Lee. You raise your hand.
각자 열심히 공부하던 이들이 모인 이유는 한센병 환자들이 모여있는 마을에서 의료 봉사를 하기 위해서입니다. 그런 그들의 모습에서 이태석 신부가 보이는 것은 단순한 착각일까요? 이태석 신부가 아프리카 톤제에 뿌린 사랑의 씨앗이 꽃으로 피어나고 있습니다.
One. three, four. We are the leaders.
Thank you very much for sharing the video. That was a very inspirational video. We can see that Father Itesok, he really had a huge impact in the people of South Sudan, and he himself, his life himself, was as valuable as a World Heritage Site. So I'll continue to explain the key points of Chapter 10. So the key points of Subunit 1 of Chapter 10 are, point number 1 is that a heritage of mankind, it includes natural heritage, cultural heritage, and also intangible heritage. So a person who contains culture, values, and history and delivers them to a future generation is also a heritage. We teach students about the concept of heritage before anything else. Subunit 2 teaches the following, that it is the role of peace to preserve and develop heritage handed down from generations. This is because heritage contains the history, spirit, and culture of that country. And the best heritage, Subunit 3 talks about the best heritage being peace. Nothing is more valuable than ending war, making peace and passing that peace on to future generations. So what is the reason that the role of peace is to preserve and develop heritage handed down from generations? It's easy to understand that peace is needed to preserve and develop heritage, because heritage, if you think about it, it's destroyed during the events of war. However, on the contrary, it may not be well understood why preserving and developing heritage is a matter of peace. We may think that practicing gratitude and consideration and sacrifice and forgiveness, all of the things that were taught in the previous lessons, is a somewhat different from the direct way of achieving peace. It can be seen that the heart is directly related to the achievement of peace, rather than preserving and developing heritage. This is because the heart to preserve and develop heritage is the same as the heart to protect the family, the heart to protect the people, and the heart to protect this country. It also includes a desire to protect history and a desire to protect descendants. This is why, and this is the reason why Lesson 10 calls, or is called, an effort to preserve the heritage of ancestors. In other words, those who know the importance of heritage, they already value, protect, and develop their families, peoples in their communities, and their countries. And in addition, these people think about the future of their descendants. For example, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but I'm sure many of us are aware of the climate crisis that's taking place. Scholars have warned that if we don't stop the climate crisis in this generation, we'll be the first generation in human history to trample on the survival of future generations. We inherited the land of life called Earth from our ancestors, and we have to preserve and develop the inheritance that we receive and pass it on to our descendants. But what about the lives of our descendants if we were to pass on an earth that we destroyed horribly? It would be difficult and tough, and it would be a life that is far from peace. I thought about inheritance while watching a video on the democratization movement in Myanmar. We have to ask ourselves, what kind of nation do we want to pass on to the next generation? The people of Myanmar were risking their lives to restore democracy from the military dictatorship. Well, let's watch a video related to this, and then we'll continue to talk on this topic.
Find out which of these lucky ladies will be moving on. And this year's costume winner was Myanmar.
Hopefully we were all able to watch the video smoothly. Through this video, we can see that the people of Myanmar were really trying to gain their freedom and not pass down oppression and discrimination and poverty as a legacy. So we believe that it'll be difficult to make such a sacrifice if somebody thinks only of their own comfort. We believe that this chapter must teach about the heart to think about future generations. Then how can students be taught the value of heritage? As science and technology change society at a rapid pace, many students have had the idea that cultural heritage is just a tourist destination and a culture of like boring ancestors. It seems very difficult to teach students things that are so important, such as heritage. But to know the value of heritage is to remember and appreciate one's own roots and origin. Language and science and art, they're all legacy made by our ancestors and all of their efforts, just as there are no children without parents. One feels the importance of heritage when they realize that they can't actually exist without it. In addition, heritage not only connects past and the present, but it also connects the present and the future. Efforts to preserve, develop, and pass on heritage handed down by our ancestors to future generations will be the driving force behind sustainable peace. So what did we think about the best heritage in subunit 3? Or what do we think about? So what do we believe is the best heritage? I saw a lot of answers in the chat from the earlier question, but the best heritage, it would be peace, wouldn't it? I believe that peace is the best heritage for the future generations. In the third point, we learn about the value of ending wars and making peace to pass it on to future generations, and why you and I should not consider too much of our own comforts, but make effort to achieve peace. We'll go on to our last and final lesson, lesson number 12, the completion of peace that humanity has long awaited. Finally, we'll explain the last viewpoint of HWPL. As expected from the last viewpoint, the title of lesson 12 is, again, the completion of peace that humanity has long awaited. We believe it's a viewpoint in which you will learn about what kind of work we must do to complete the peace that mankind has been longing for. So first, we'll take a look at the key points. We'll see them on the screen. So if you take a look at the screen, it says there are many difficulties in realizing peace, and it takes courage to achieve peace. Another key point is that there must be a love for peace to achieve the goal of world peace and a cessation of war. And everyone must be a messenger of peace to complete the peace that mankind has been looking forward to. So if we again look at the contents of number 1, we can see that it takes courage to achieve peace because it's difficult to achieve peace. It is a difficult task. So what is courage? There's a quote by Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa. He said that he learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Everyone feels fear. However, it is courage that overcomes that fear. The world could only change when one acts with courage for peace. And at times, one person's small courage can create a greater effect of courage. And that courage also exerts tremendous power to save people's lives. For example, numerous passengers gathered to save a man whose leg fell into the gap between a train and a platform. They pushed the train and created enough of a gap between the train and the platform to pull out the man's leg. At this time, there must have been one person, who began pushing first that played a big role. The courageous behavior of that first person encouraged the many other people to also be courageous. Key point number 2 is that there must be a love for peace to achieve the goal of world peace and cessation of war. One must have the heart to love peace, to give courage to act towards peace. This is something that's fairly obvious. However, it's not easy to answer this question. What can we do for someone to have the heart to love peace? As seen from the life of priest Lee Tae-seok that we saw earlier, he definitely was a person who loved peace, and he worked to put it to practice. What's the reason, though, that he was able to work in that way? Wasn't it because that he respects life? A person who values their own life and loves it can truly be pained by the suffering and the misery of others. In addition, those who know that life is the most valuable thing will be able to devote themselves to the work for life. In the end, all these things are connected to the love of peace. There was a person named Irina Sendler. She appears in the textbook, and she saved 2,500 Jewish lives from the Nazis. When she was asked, how could she save 2,500 children? She said, it started with my father's teaching at home when I was a child. I was taught, she said, that if anybody needs help, we have to help them regardless of religion or race. So she hadn't forgotten her father's teaching from the age of when she was 7. Why should we help people in need? It may be because everyone's life is precious and it should be respected. This is something that she learned from her father. Let's take a look at key point number 3. To complete the peace that mankind has been looking forward to, everybody must become a messenger of peace. Key point number 3 teaches us that in order to fulfill peace, we all must be messengers of peace. And it will take a good amount of time and effort to achieve peace. But not doing anything will never bring peace. It may be small, but if we continue to strive for peace, the world will change. Peace is not far away somewhere, nor is it impossibly difficult to achieve, right? We can create a culture of peace within our family, within our friends, within our schools, and within our communities. First, we must transform ourselves into a personality of peace and convey peace to people around us. However, it is important to note that even the smallest things we must take action in. Nothing will change if we don't show through our actions. And those little actions come together, and eventually world peace can be achieved. So this section emphasizes that even the smallest action for the work of peace is important. For educators to help guide their students to practice peace in their lives, they must continually guide their students. So, for example, what kind of peace activities can we provide to minors, to students, after completing the peace education course? If a student is, in the case of being underage, they're actually encouraged to participate in small things for peace at home and at school, rather than participating in large social activities for peace. For example, implementing a forgiveness campaign in schools can lead to reconciliation between students and can help school violence. Heritage exploration clubs and events where teachers and students can express gratitude to each other may also bring positive effects. When you become an adult, you can participate in the direct social activities for peace, such as human rights movements and environmental protection and anti-war movements. So up to here, we've studied and we looked at all of the 12 lessons of the HWPL textbook. So that's something amazing. Actually, why don't we all give ourselves a round of applause for all the time that we've taken to study these 12 peace lessons. Thank you, everybody, for your perseverance and your dedication to achieving world peace. Though this may seem sometimes like a very small effort, of course, through today's lesson, we learned that even the smallest efforts for peace must be taken, and they will be taken into consideration. And you are the start of a much larger area and impact of peace that you will have in your own communities, in your own schools, in your own families, and in your own workplaces and various different countries as well. So thank you all for participating in the peace training for the past few weeks. And I think our peace educators here and your students are going to be very, very grateful and very, very blessed, because they have educators who are working hard for the advancement of peace education. So this will conclude today's session. Please leave your impacts and impressions, because there's one more important thing. Make sure to just stay. One more important announcement that we have. And please type your impressions or impacts in the chats as well. So thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you for today's lecture, Armando instructor, and I will continue to notice some announcement of our reset gear training. So just a moment, I will share the screen again. So the next content is about the HWPL Peace Educators completion requirement. So there are three requirements for getting the certification of our HWPL peace educators. So all of you, the number one is completion of peace educator training. So all of you already here completed the number one. And as I explained about the number two, we'll have the last assignment of session 8 today. So the last assignment is that all of you do the promotion of our HWPL membership to your student or your friends or other teachers who know or anyone. So it is not pretty difficult. So please submit the last assignment too. And the last one is submission of Google form about information. So you in the Google form, you could check it in detail. So I will share the Google form in the chat room after today's session. So it is form that collects the information we need to appoint you as our HWPL peace educator. So only the people who fill out this form can be posted to our headquarters as peace educator. So please be sure to submit this form. And next is about our future direction. So we plan to create another WhatsApp group chat for each organization and school. Then each HWPL manager will get a meeting with you and will communicate with you in the future. So in the meeting, we will discuss together how to implement and spread our peace education in your school and also in your area and city and country. So let's see in the future in the WhatsApp group chat. We also plan to invite you to a lot of events at HWPL. So as you already have seen in the videos from past session, there are many events such as Peace Walks or World Peace Summit in September and so on. And especially in June, our regular HWPL Peace Educators Research Group is scheduled. So we will also invite you to this research group in June. And to briefly introduce this research group, our HWPL peace educators from each country gather in June, like today, to share each peace education in their school and country and discuss for better peace education in each areas. So through the research group, our educators will be able to increase their understanding of the peace textbook content and also teaching methods of peace textbook to their students. And there are no content of this screen. We will also update about the news and information about our HWPL in the group chat. And now I would like to have hear your impressions for our peace educator training for 8 weeks. So I hope today all of people could share it. So is there anyone who want to share first? Um, I can see Mr. Eliuba. Could you share your impression for 8 weeks?
Yes, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, David. Yeah, I think for the 8 lessons, I've learned a lot about peace because before I started this training, my knowledge and understanding about peace, I can say it was limited. But from lesson 1 to lesson 12 today, I've learned a lot, and I think it has also changed me, and I'm also inspired, and I would also like to continue to teach peace to other people, particularly my students, so that they can also inspire more people, and so that we can have more people in the world who teach peace to other people, so that we can have a peaceful world, because that is all we need. Yeah, so what I just want to say is that I'm very impressed with all the lessons from lesson 1 to lesson 12. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing, Mr. Liu Ba. And next, could you share the impression? Mr. Patrick, could you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. And first day, I want to say a very big thank you to you, the host and the co-host. I was very much impressed, and I to admit there were a lot of things that I learned, and currently it is helping me even through my teaching journey because those methods and teachings I also try to implement them in my class. And I believe that it is also helping because at point in time students were a little bit finding it difficult, but I also try to use a strategy of how to engage them from the previous lessons learned here. So I must say that it is absolutely amazing, and I will be so glad if and only if we can also as well introduce it in our school, and that I'm absolutely working on as well. Everyone who participated, hope that we will not just learn this, but it will also make an impact in our lives. So we will also make impact in others' lives, and we will
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Patrick. And I want to listen the Miss Lina, Lina Sumo. Could you share it?
Well, I want to say a very big thank you to our educators, our facilitators for impacting into us concerning peace. Well, about peace, I have a different understanding about peace. But since I attended the class from day one, and I learned much more about values of life, about forgiveness, and many other things I was really not into. So I want to say a very big thank you. It was a very big impact in my life. And when we started the peace process, the teaching, I started applying it in my church, telling people about peace in my church. Even the children, I have photos with them, and we talk a lot. And people encouraged me to visit communities. They had children where they gather together as orphans. I should go there and do some teaching about peace. So it really made me happy. And I was really grateful for all of the teaching from the day 1 to the 12 lesson. I am very much grateful for that teaching and that impartation. So thank you so much to all of the facilitators for impacting that knowledge into me as a peace educator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lina.
Yeah.
And hey, I hope all of you your impression. So next, um, Mr. Ismail, could you do that?
Hello.
Could you? Hello, Seba. So, could you share the impression?
Yeah.
Seba, and next is Ismail, Mr. Ismail. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for the training session. And thanks to all the facilitators, the peace education training was fantastic. What I love much about the session is wherein we talk about law and order. Peace cannot be attained where there is no law and order. Where there is no law and order, there will be anarchy. And what the world needs now is peace. So I'm glad to be part of this peace educators training and will impact it to others in our societies, in our communities. And I'm sure we are hoping for the better by educating our kids, the students. I'm sure they too will educate others. I'm sure we'll have a better society. Thank you very much. I would love to have more of this training and more features. I'm glad that I was part of this particular training. Thank you very much, and thanks to all our colleagues that endure to today. Thank you.
Thank you too, Mr. Seba. And yeah, Mr. Usman, could you share the impression now? Yeah.
To all of the instructors, to all of the coordinators, to the management of HWPL, I firstly want to say thank you, not forgetting all of my colleagues who participated in this intensive training. Well, my impression about peace, about this whole peace training, have been immense as I look at the mindset that I have for peace before. In all of this training, I understand and I gather something tangible that can be used for the society. That is, peace is everyone's of us initiative. Everyone, it is an initiative for us. I learned that we must fight to teach peace. We must preach peace. We must act and live for a better world and for human development. Everyone wants to have peace as a legacy for generations. But I understand from this that every religion teaches peace and not war. So the force of the implementation of peace relies on citizens. As citizens, we are the answer to peace. We must make peace to be our everyday way of life. We must eat peace, we must act peace, we must talk peace, we must work peace. So I just want to say thank you so much for this intensive training. It was very initiative, and I look forward to acquiring more knowledge, and I'm going to go out there to implement everything I have learned. Thank you very much once again to all of our instructors, to all of the coordinators, to those behind the technical team, everyone that make it possible for us to view one another, the engineers, everybody. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ismail. And hopefully next person is Mr. Kali. Could you share your impression today for 8 weeks?
Okay, good afternoon.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. I'm very much happy to be part of this training. Since from the first day, I was unable to join all the classes, but I normally follow the YouTube links that you normally update in the WhatsApp group. Due to one reason or the other, I normally skip the classes, but I do follow. And it is very much educative. Yeah, I learned a lot since from day one up till today. The thing really changed me because I learned a lot, a lot. And the part that I really liked is where you talked about sacrifice, which is key in maintaining peace. You need to sacrifice to go out there to sacrifice yourself without gaining anything. I'm very much happy to be part of this training. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your impression, Mr. Colley. And I want to hear from Mr. Mustafa Hengoi. Could you share your impression for 8 weeks, our session?
Hello,
Hello.
are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry for joining very late. I'm not well anyway. I've just finished taking some treatment, and I said, let me come online and see how I can join the final program today. And I am so happy that I've gone through the 7-8 weeks programs of this peace education, and I hope that all what I have learned, if implemented within my vicinity, and we'll be able to attain peace little by little in our own community. A lot of things were discussed over the week, ranging from the culture of peace, and how will you be able to at least organize yourself, influence people to be citizen of peace. First and foremost, we have to see how we can get along. You have to give respect to each and everybody's view, despite the tribes, religion, so on and so forth. To gain peace, from what I learned from you and throughout the program, is that it's a collective effort. It's a collective effort that you will be able to gain peace through respect, through understanding the culture, through at least allowing people to at least express their views with regards to whatever thing that is happening within the community or around them. So I would have been able really to at least make more research, but because I've just completed treatment this afternoon, and I said, let me just come online and share my own view, and let me make sure I complete this program today. I learned a lot.
Oh, you're muted, Mr. Mustafa. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing your impression, Mustafa. The last top part, we can hear you, so you're muted now. So it's okay to share your impression, and thank you for sharing your impression. And next, I hope to hear the Mr. Philip Combo Bundu. Yeah, hello, Mr. Philip. Could you share? So you're muted now, so please unmute your microphone. Um, you probably have some problems in your earphone. Okay, and oh, Mr. Philip, could you share your impression? You're muted now. Okay, please share your impression in the WhatsApp group chat. Then I could check about your impression, and other people also please share your impression who didn't share the impression today. Okay, so then let's take a commemorative photo to complete our PSET skill training. So let's take a photo. So you already know our pose, the VR1. So I will take the 3, 2, 1, then we can pose the VR1. So 3, 2, 1, VR1. So just a moment. And yeah, VR1. Is it okay? Mr. Matthew? Okay.
We can do another one.
Oh, oh, then we can pose. This one, this means
One,
the Victoria pose.
one,
Ah,
2, 3. All right. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for 8 weeks, and I will create the WhatsApp group and keep in touch with all of you, and let's see in the future. Thank you, everyone. And congratulate your complete our business career training, all of you. Bye bye.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for all the
Congratulations.
course. Thank you.
Bye bye.
See you.